Good morning. I hope you are enjoying various skill sets that I am discussing about. In the last module, I discussed about the innovative skill, and today I am going to discuss about another kind of skill set, that is influencing skill. Here you are stepping into a domain where all your individual skills are now going to be tested. The personal skills, the innovative skills, whatever you have, this particular skill, influencing skill, makes a lot of difference. What is influencing skill? Some people call it interpersonal. That means there are now two persons, at least two persons. All skill sets under personal and innovative, it may be individual. You are, or he is, or she is, fine. One has that kind of skill. When it comes to influencing, that means there has to be two persons. One would influence the other. You know, sometimes it is said that okay, if you are influenced by somebody, then you are weak. I will not agree at all, because getting influenced by a right person who explains to me something and I agree to it and get influenced by this, by agreement or by following a path or following his ideas or following his or her values, does not make me weak, rather it makes me strong. So, in the influencing skills is basically focused towards those people who can influence others. Here we are not going to take into consideration people who are getting influenced, because we are trying to see the positive aspects of this influencing skills. Let us go to a little detail of this. The first set of influencing skill alphabetically that comes in my list is the coaching and mentoring. Think about the teacher, school teacher, who taught you from your Montessori to nursery to primary to higher secondary to college level, taught you something, mentored you something in something. That means you have been influenced by all those things which he or she has explained to you and you have tried to learn, imbibe. If somebody is coaching you how to play, that means you are now influenced by the coach who influenced you by giving you all the tricks and tips of how to play, and now you are a good player or a successful player. Mentoring is another thing. Mentoring is like somebody takes you under his or her umbrella of coaching, mentors you emotionally, might not really give you exercises, but mentors you by verbal, dictats or verbal explanations. Coaching and mentoring are very strong point of influencing others. One would be influenced if one is ready to take the coaching that one is giving, or if one is ready to get mentored by another person. Okay. So, coaching and mentoring is one of the strong influencing skill. It is not easy. People say it is inherent. People say that if somebody is a teacher, is a born teacher. I do not agree with it. No. If somebody can coach you, he is a born coach. I do not agree. Why I do not agree, do you know? I do not agree for one reason. The person who was a very good player got the coaching from somebody else and never coached anybody. Once he has learned the entire art of playing, and when he thinks that now he should not play anymore, then he takes up the responsibility of being a coach of that game. That means now originally he was in a mode where he was supposed to be influenced by a coach or a mentor, and now he puts himself in the shoes of the same coach and a mentor, and now he becomes a coach. Okay. So, the thing is, nobody is born with it. It is something which you imbibe over the process. There are many persons who has learned the trick or trade of something, maybe good engineering, good painting, good literature thing, good music and all that, but they cannot coach well, because they do not have that skill. Any singer does not necessarily become a good music teacher. Any player does not necessarily become a good coach. Any engineer, good engineer, not necessarily will teach very good engineering in a college. So, the point is, this is something, a skill which somehow one gets imbibed with, or okay, we may say that some people are endowed with it by nature. Everybody has that skill of teaching somebody. Only thing is, somebody wishes to teach or coach or mentor. There are many mentors lying idle who are not being able to mentor anybody because nobody goes to them, neither they have offered their services. The point is, he still has that influencing skill. In your entire profession, how do you influence others? Here comes one question. We use this term quite often. Looking at a boy who is going astray, not really doing his job properly, we say he is negatively influenced. He has a negative influence. That means what? Somebody with negative attributes is mentoring him in such a manner that this person who was positive internally, now he is turning into negative attribute oriented person. So, influence can be positive or negative, but I have always said, repeatedly said, that all my discussion will be focused towards positiveness. So, if anything that you say has a negative, I am not really going to bring it forward, but if I find that somewhere I have to caution you for something against the negative, I will raise that particular point. So, coaching and mentoring is one strong influencing skill. Again, since all these are coming alphabetically, I am never trying to put anything over and above, or this is first, this is second, you must have this first and then this second. No, you make your own judgment. But influencing skill where collaborating is one of the strong things. Collaboration is what? You collaborate with somebody to do a work. That means both of you participate in this work. Now, when I am saying it, I am saying both of you. This you in English may be singular or plural. That means you are now collaborating with a person, or you are collaborating with a group. Okay? When you are collaborating, then naturally there may be different viewpoints coming in, right judgment, right facts and figures, right knowledge, right solutions. They have a strong influencing skill. So, when you collaborate and different people, unless you have compartmentalized the work and made it a watertight compartment that whatever you are doing, I am not looking into it. That is not collaboration, that is only delegation. Collaboration I am talking about, let us two experts sit together to solve one issue. When two experts of two different lines, they are individually heroes. When they are sitting together, if they can collaborate and then influencing each other to reach to the same target, this is what is a skill of collaborating in the influencing skills. Convincing is one such thing where one always wins over the other. See, coaching and mentoring is, and collaborating in which? In collaborating you are sharing, in coaching and mentoring you are at the upper level and you are trying to coach another person who is less trained in the line that you are coaching. But convincing is something which is very, very dangerous. What is the danger? Convincing means somebody is influencing you by giving some facts and figures, and you tend to agree and tend to believe, even if it is wrong, you tend to believe. This is what is the danger. But this skill as an influencing skill is a very strong skill. If you are right and you are trying to convince somebody who is wrong, and if you can convince him that he is wrong, then that is the best result of influencing skill. But what happens is, it is like we always say that we try to convince, the child tries to convince his parents that please allow me to go for a movie, or let me go with my friends. Parents are not ready, neither happy, because it is an odd time at which he is requesting for. But child convinces the parents, parent gets convinced and ultimately allows. Okay? The point is, when you are getting convinced, mind it, I did not say when you are convincing, when you are getting convinced, then have reasons in place, try to see the reasons and try to judge based on your contrary opinion that you held. Somebody is trying to convince you with something. Why he is trying to convince you? Because you had a set of ideas with respect to the same issue. He is trying to put forward his viewpoints and trying to convince you. Okay? So, in such cases, Now, you as a person who is getting convinced try to judge that whether you are right or wrong, and the other person who is trying, he will try to put the right points. Let this be a fair game, fair play. Somebody trying to convince some other person with a wrong points and wrong facts, wrong ideas, wrong values is the wrong thing. So, convincing skill, if it is used by somebody who can influence you by convincing with wrong ideas, I am sorry, you are in a real bad shape. Try to understand as a person being convinced that what he is saying is right. Quite often I have seen many persons, irrespective of the age, they get convinced by some ideologies. They are detrimental for him, maybe, for his family, for his profession, for his life, but get convinced. And the convincing thing is such, it is almost like believing like a God, believing God. Whoever has that strong convincing skill as an influencing skill is good in our profession, but only thing is, if it is wrongly used or abused, like convincing about a product which is not required for somebody, and convincing him that yes, he does require that particular object and product, and he pays price for it, and then finally finds that it is useless. That is a wrong convincing, bad convincing. So, convincing is a positive. If you take it as a positive note, convincing is a very strong attribute. Facilitating is like, when you require several functions, several operations, and somebody facilitates you by influencing. How? Says you require this, you require this, it is required, that is required. Like say he arranges for everything. It is basically the arrangers. An arranger who is giving you everything by facilitating your system, your process, then in such case he has to convince you also, he has to influence you with whatever gadgets you are getting. Let us take an example of say a party. There can be endless ways you can enjoy that particular party. There can be endless items which you can use in this. You might find that you have contacted a arranger who is forcing you to take this item, that item, that item, that item, that item. He is trying, because you do require that item, but only thing is he might be giving you such items which are extra cost oriented, which you do not require really. Something which he is trying to facilitate with you with a strong influence, that you take this, it will be good, people will like it. How does he know? How do you know? The thing is, in such cases, okay, the facilitating is the influencing skill. People who facilitate, the facilitators, the event managers, the product managers, the product launchers, they facilitate you with influencing skills. So, be very careful. See, when I am saying this, I am addressing both the persons, both the groups. One is getting facilitated, another is facilitating. If you are a facilitator, then please do justice. You influence people with what is rightfully required, and if you are getting facilitated, then be judgmental and try to understand exactly what. You judge it, you measure it and see where you are going wrong. Inspiring is a very positive influencing skill. You inspire lots of minds. Basically, inspiring is a mental process, mental game. You inspire somebody who has a talent, but did not know that he has a talent. Somebody who has a talent knows that he has a talent, but he does not have an opportunity to get the talent created or pursued. You inspire. I will tell you very frankly, inspiration is such a thing that you can make a life changing activity to somebody. You can change the life. If you wrongly inspire, I am not talking about that, but positively if you inspire somebody, tell that person what is the intrinsic quality or the skill that the person possesses, and you try to bring it out in front of him, as if, like say, if you are trying to inspire me and you dig out my skills and put it in front of me so that I can view what I have within. This is what is inspiration. So, there are lots of inspiration gurus, there are many motivational gurus. Who are they? Basically, they are common people like you and me. Only thing is, what they are doing is, they are trying to see that where you are losing your mental composure on several talents which you have. So, what they are doing is in the organized manner through all these motivational speeches and such, they are trying to tell you exactly what is good in you. And if suppose people are saying in a group, then in such cases inspirational dialogues are very general and generic, and it touches many hearts and many minds. But if it is only mutual, like say between two persons, then this inspiration really triggers and makes somebody a genius. Any genius that you look into, any kind of persons who have been really talented, just dig out the history and try to find out if there could have been any person who inspired, and you will find yes, there may be somebody in the family, somebody's father, somebody's wife, somebody's guru who is not related, some neighbor, some teacher. And I can tell you, most often I do see there are good number of teachers who are good inspirators, and they do inspire. When they inspire, basically what they are doing is they are influencing. They are influencing the person, trying to make him see within himself that what talents, what skills he has, and so that now nourish it, nurture it. Motivating is a similar one, similar type, but as you do inspire psychologically, motivation is you keep on repeatedly tell people that motivate, do it, do it, do it. Individually, quite often what happens is we become confused, and when you are refused or rejected or turned down, as a salesperson I can tell you, quite often you get really dejected, and then you want to sit back and withdraw from the system. At that point of time, if there is somebody who can influence you by saying that don't bother, I gave this example in the last week also, don't bother, you lost 10 such kind of opportunities, 11th one will come. He is motivating you. You did not get the 11th one, he will tell you don't bother, there will be a 12th one which will come, you will get it. And suppose you get it, then you really find that you have moved from 10 failure or 11th failure to 12th success, because somebody has motivated you. So, this motivation skill is basically between two persons. It can be between two persons, it can be between one person to many. So, all these influencing skills has to be between one, two, or one, many. Now, the negotiation which has come here, which is my basic main framework of this particular course. This is a very, very interesting game, and naturally in subsequent weeks you will get a very strong discussion on this negotiation. So, I will not really go into the details now, but what is this negotiation about? Negotiation is somebody is trying to give you something in exchange of something. Okay? In exchange of whatever quantum, you are not ready to give that. Now, you look at it, one person wants to sell a product, he is asking for X amount of price, and you want to buy that product, you are not ready to pay that price. Okay? Now, the negotiation starts. Theoretically, it is said negotiation just gets triggered when there is a refusal. What is that? When there is a no in it. Like, person wants to sell the product, he has it in his shop, you went to his shop, you like the product. Now, you say what's the price? He says a price. You tell him, would you please take delta x minus, less than that price? The person says no. The moment he says no, then you will say, can you raise my value, my price to a little higher? That means, now the moment he said no, there is a refusal, then both of you really start negotiating and come to a price which balances your expenditure that you want to make and his earning that he is going to make out of it. So, negotiation is a very strong emotional exercise. I won't use a term called fight, emotional exercise in which both the parties are trying to reach a point where both of them win, but not necessarily all the negotiations are win-win. There are many which are, if one wins, another is losing. Okay? So, the thing is, all these I will discuss later in my that week's lecture when I'll be focusing on all negotiations, but the negotiation is the one in which influence skill plays a very important role. Just to influence the seller to give an idea that your product is good, but it is worth the price that I am saying, is you have to influence him. And the seller trying to influence you by saying that the product is of such quality that the price that you are offering, which is less than what I have asked for, is not the right one, is now his role. So, in the negotiation again 2 persons. It can be again, negotiation does not mean 2 persons, 1 person to 1, 1 to 1, 1 to many, or many to 1. So, the thing is there has to be such kind of skills. Persuasion is another skill which many people try to avoid, because persuasion means you have tried to sell your product or tried to get a contract and you have been refused, and now you go again and request that can we have a deal, you are refused. Suppose somebody says, okay, I can think of it after about 1 month. Then again 1 month after you go and try to talk to him that can we now talk about this deal. So, basically what you are doing is you are repeating your approach of getting that particular product, or you are trying to get a contract, trying to sell your product, whatever, but you are pursuing. Persuasion is always more than 1 steps, more than 1. If at the first set when you went to the client and shown your product and he liked it and he bought it, you closed the deal and came back, then there is no chance of persuasion. Persuasion is when you have been refused or you have been returned back saying that not today, okay, tell me all details about this product, I will look into it, I will think about it, I will talk to my people, I will try to learn more, you send me more detail or more data, and then send me what is the latest price, tell me what are the possibilities of reduction of prices, all these, and then you come back. That means the next time you are going is the persuasion. Most often people try to avoid the persuasion for one reason. Everybody thinks that it is hurting his self dignity, that if I go twice I am losing my dignity, as if I am hankering for this project, I am trying to get this job, so I should not pursue. If he needs it, I have heard many of the salespersons saying, do not worry, I am not going to pursue the case. If he needs it, one day he will call me and I will give him the product, but if he does not call me, I do not care. But that does not work in the business, that does not work. The thing is, do not take this as a dignity fight, do not take this as a ego fight, take this as a part of the process. Okay? By persuasion what you are doing is, first time you have educated him. Look at this way, first time when you went with your product literature and product details, you educated him. At least you have contacted the person who is likely to buy your product. Then he is not ready, and give him time. Why do you think that today you have met him and immediately he has to fall for you and say, okay, I get the product because you have come? No, no product is so great, give him time. So, he needs a time, try to identify whether he needs a time. If he does not need the time, close the deal and come back, and if he needs the time, give it gracefully, graciously given. You tell him, yes, I will educate you more on this, I will give you more information about it, whatever information you need I will tell you, and then he calls you back or you go to him. If the person is calling you, then you know that your product has a good market, and if he is not calling you, there may be several reasons for which he is not calling you. At that point of time, you activate your persuasion. What you do is you contact him, but let me put one note of cautioning: over persuasion, unsolicited persuasion, repeated persuasion, too frequent persuasion, they are all counterproductive. All. You must be getting a lot of calls from various other sales agencies almost every week, and you will find that this persuasion becomes a real botheration for you. He or she is doing his job because his job is to pursue. He does not think as a self dignity hindering, but the thing is, for you it is a real botheration. If you really need, you can always call back, but I can tell you also, if you really need, if you are the boss of a company or you are a good engineer or say you are a good manager, frankly speaking, if when you need it, immediately you don't pick up a phone and say that can you come back to me and then I want to talk about this product, unless you are in urgency. So, it is persuasion is also a very important task of the sales, where you have to ensure that the person does not put you out of his mind. So, doing persuasion is a very, very sensitive game. More discussion will come with some cases that in future. Public speaking skill is a very different one. Everybody is talented, every individual can speak well, but what happens is when it comes to speaking in public, people fumble, people become nervous, for which what happens is when you are going to go for sales promotions, you are not being able to express exactly what you want, and you suddenly become something happens in you that should I talk, why should I talk, should I say, why should I say, all these confusions come in your mind. But there are some professional public speakers, whatever rubbish you tell them to speak, they will speak on it, and they will speak rubbish. I am not talking about them, I am talking about the people who are trying to influence others speaking in mass, in public, and that goes as a people skill also. Motivators, political leaders, when they speak to people, they speak to the mass, to the public. Okay? This public speaking skill is very important. I can tell you one thing, this is a strong influencing skill. It is not necessary that every time you have to open your mouth and keep on blabbering. No, don't do that. Public speaking skill, you hold it and you just use it when you find the right opportunity or right moment for it, but it can be trained. These things like persuasion, public speaking, negotiation, motivation, all these influencing skills can be taught, it can be learned, but certificates are not given, but you can be trained. One very good solution I will tell you, good suggestion also you can take it as, if you are really trying to go for a kind of profession of sales and such others, then definitely join a group of dramatics. You know why? In dramatics, they teach you some fixed dialogues, how to speak, what is your intonation, how to modulate your voice. When in the next week's courses, when I will talk about all these things, I will give lots of details in it. But here, since I have come across this point, let me tell you, if you really want to be a good public speaker, then you rehearse to speak in public, and the dramatics or such kind of exercises is a very good solution for you. You sit quietly in your home and then never speak to people, and suddenly you go and speak publicly, is very, very unnatural. So, try to join a dramatics group or make a small group among yourself, enact, learn some things which you have to speak, and then exercise by rehearsing and speak in public. Okay? This can be done. And another influencing skill which every seller does it is selling. Nobody can sell you a product unless he can influence you by highlighting all its positives and also ensuring that you are ready to part with your money for that. It requires a great skill. The sales is one of the very, very strong part of your influencing skill. So, selling must be learned, practiced. Okay? Now, this brings me to the end of this module. Think about it very, very carefully, whatever I have said. I did not give much example over here, because my examples will come, or the cases will come when I will discuss about all these things in detail during my verbal communication, non-verbal communication, interviews, GDs, professional negotiations, business negotiations, marketing strategies. At all these points will be referred. Okay? So, I did not want to really load it with all those cases here. This is only to give you a sort of overall gamut of the soft skills. Okay. That is for today. In the next module, I will discuss about some other type of skills. Thank you.